Welcome to Dad Still Here podcast. I'm Ryan, Reese and Luke's dad.
I'm Mike, Michael's dad.
Mike, how you doing, man? We're on to episode 2. Any feelings from episode 1 in general?
Yeah, a couple different ones. It felt really good to sit down with you and go back and forth with all the details of the story. Every time you tell it, brings back the emotions. But I think you said it a couple times. We owe it to the boys to tell their story. So that felt good. Um, Definitely got a lot of nice support from friends and family. A lot of nice texts. Calls and stuff like that throughout the past day or two. Um, so yeah, it felt good.
Anything specifically anybody texted you or you want to share? You don't
Uh,
have to.
I got one text from a guy named Anthony, fellow Lost dad. We both met at an event recently. Unbeknownst to me, he was on first Adel and Rose call I ever did, and he texted me today, um, saying, rough Father's Day, but the video had helped him. So that felt really good. Another thing he said, just help one person, it's, it's a success. So that was good. Yeah, but I was from Anthony and more importantly, Atlas's dad. So shout out to you.
Shout out Anthony and shout out
How
Atlas.
about
Thank you.
how about you, Ryan?
I think I had a handful, right? And trying to get through the text messages and read the comments and people. I think we're at decent numbers for what we are, which is just two regular guys and talking about their kids and crying half the time and
Yeah.
uh, doing all that stuff. But no, it's overwhelming to say the least. I mean, people saying like how strong we are and brave, and I appreciate that. But I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, man, I'm only able to do this because of Reese and Luke.
Yeah.
um, and and I think you're because of Michael, right? Like it's that love we have for them, and um, yeah, without them, I couldn't be doing this. I couldn't imagine me doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been everybody who's been great. Everybody who reached out and said something positive. Um, a couple, one specific lost dad, a lost mom. Shout out to those guys and yeah, our friends and I think we've gotten some decent numbers and I know for a fact it's not just Brandy and Chris and your mom and my mom. So
It's Joe Rogan too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, listen, episode 1 was good. I think it was a good start. We're definitely getting the hang of this and figuring it out a little bit better. And we really look forward to continuing to do this. As Mike and I said in episode 1, if we can help one dad and hearing, when you sent me Anthony's text and shared that with me, like I want to record every day. I told you this now. Like this is something that I genuinely like am so excited about and to talk about Reese and Luke and Michael and then talk to potentially like eventually other dads. It's just the best, man, and that's what this is here for. So thank you for joining in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing across all our different platforms on social media. We're rapidly growing. We've turned this into a family thing now. So both of our wives are going to be working on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they know social much better than we do. Um,
Oh, absolutely.
so
Yeah. We'll need
yeah,
their help
so
for
we'll, yeah, we're just a talent.
that. Um,
Um, all right. Well, listen. Now that we are, we talked about 1. Let's get into episode 2, and we did a trial run on these just to see if it's even possible. Is it weird? Can we do this? Can we talk for an hour straight? And we have zero skills, so literally we press record, we talk for an hour, and then we post that, just so everybody knows how it actually works.
the thing that worries me the
So
most is I know since we've been doing it, there's no like, "Oh, let me start that back. We've just been letting it go."
Yeah,
So every
100%,
time we
yeah.
get, like, 30, 40 minutes in, I'm like, "Alright, keep your thoughts together, speak
Yep,
clearly."
that's it. Lock in, lock in. Yeah, so we're as we've said, like we're not experts and in everything, but especially in the podcasting world. So yeah, we let it rip for an hour, and but episode two, when we first did our trial run, was so good, and we know we're gonna deliver another performance of the same thing, and share, um, what we felt, and I know what other dads are feeling. So the day everything changed, it's a tough thing, and yeah, I would ask you, Mike, the day everything changed. What is it that you would remember? You would say you remember the most about that day, and it can be any day.
Yeah, thing I probably remember most, kinda touched upon it when we talked, in the first episode, being going back into the room when we first got to the hospital, due date, everything's go time. We figured things good to go. We felt baby Michael kicking the night before, 7, 8 hours ago. The thing I remember most was just like the screeching halt of time from, thinking things were good and it's due date time till, the doctor looked at us and told us there was no heartbeat. I've never felt like a ripple in time like that. Like I felt, you're just frozen for God knows how long, but it stings like nothing else. So finding out that things went from good, perfectly fine to worst case scenario that quickly, and you're told in one sentence, um, that was probably the most lasting memory I have, from that experience. Um,
Any feelings like pop out, like
yeah, it was. I mean, first of all, you're just stunned and broken right off the bat. You see the look on your wife's face. She's got to deliver still. It's if to get to a specific feeling, I don't know if I could articulate that to you, but it's a whirlwind of feelings that I don't know what else could bring about, other than losing your child. Um, you don't know what to think. I'll probably say this a bunch of times: the bad dream feeling, where like you don't really feel like it's. You hope it's not real. You hope maybe something's wrong and it'll fix itself in some crazy way, and you're not really sure, um, exactly what to feel. There's just too much going on. Um, yeah, it's just a lot to really put into words. But so for you guys, I know you guys kind of went through some different stages of finding out different news along the way.
yeah.
For you, what do you remember the most, Rye?
It's so tough because you're right. It's like for us, it was like I guess there's three. Number one, it's the doctor on the Friday. You know, regular appointment, regular checkup, everything's good. Um, he's joking about Luke and his man parts and up make dad proud. And dude, you could just feel it like a switch. Like he just kind of goes quiet and he tells us Reese is in stage two twin to twin and Luke is has this mass on his liver and you're like, what the fuck? Like, and I knew about twin twin, how bad that was. I was they tell you about the surgery, so you're okay. Like Luke Reese is okay. What about Luke's liver? Like Luke's liver. But I remember asking him like, how worried do I have to be? And I remember him saying like, You lose 1, it's tough. You lose 2, it's devastating, but you can try again, and I remember being like, "Dude, that's not an option." Like, you don't know me, but, like, that's not an option, so that was kind of the start. Monday, very simply, it's getting down to chop and, you know, all the hope, all the terror of like, "Hey, we might have to get this surgery, we might have to do this stuff," but, at least that means they'll be okay. 8 hours of appointments, and within 10 minutes, the nurse, just so simply, like, you know, looking, pushing the trying to find, Reese, and, she, like, sits like, pushes back, and she pushes in this, like, door, and it, like, this, like, I don't even know what it was, a stand or something, and it makes this, like, metal noise, and she's like, "I can't find baby A's heartbeat," and, your world just drops, like, right out from under you, and, uh, you just start to panic and do everything, spiral into, for us, it was, "What about Luke? Is Luke okay?" You're feeling bad for Reese, scared for Luke, scared for us, scared for your wife, trying to figure out everything. And then we said one, and I can't pick one, so I apologize. But the third is going back the next day to our MFM and having to do the ultrasound, and found out that Reese had gone at some point from Monday morning at, he had a heartbeat around 7 a.m. on Monday, and it's now Tuesday at like noon. And, looking at that ultrasound and, seeing them there, two babies, 2 boys, and, not hearing that boom, 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 boom
Man,
is just, yeah, that's tough, man. That's,
it's crushing. It's
yeah, yeah. You
horrible.
you every time you go to the doctor, I mean, that was the best part of my weeks, no matter how shitty my week was at work or anything else in life, like, hearing those heartbeats, man, was like
Yeah,
the best,
right.
and, yeah.
Yeah,
We talk about the day that everything changed, and, like, obviously, we're looking at it from a negative context. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I think about, like, and Reese and Luke were our first, and I know, you have Isabella, but, like, the first time I heard their heartbeats, man, like, the first heartbeat was like my world was, like, rocked, right? Like, it's just such a beautiful thing, and you hear that noise, and you're just so excited. You wanna record it, and
yeah.
there's things on there that say, like, "Don't record,"
Yeah, nah,
and then
just piggyback on that. I know we went out to lunch one day, and you had said that from the moment you heard their heartbeats, the only thing you cared about was being their dad. And
dude, it changed me, man, and, I know it changes everybody, but yeah, the second one, man, when I heard the second one, like, I just was like, "Holy shit, I can't believe it," and, yeah, so I was curious if I mean, when you first heard Michael's heartbeat, I know you had already been a dad before,
uh,
a little bit different that
yeah, no, there's still just, I mean, there's nothing like it. And you get some of them ultrasound pictures back, and you're looking, you're like, yeah, there's a nose, like, and it gets you excited, like, beyond belief, like,
yeah.
um, you know, and then you kind of ride that high. And when something like this happens, it's just such a drop from the best moment of your life to the worst moment of your life, so quick. Quick, in our situations, kind of for sure. Um, and it's just, it's devastating. Um, you know, like I said, you're getting hit with a whirlwind of feelings. A lot going on. Um, is there anything that surprised you about how you reacted to this?
It was the for me, like, and I've said it to Bran, I think I've shared it with you, but the first time I ever feel like I, like, truly lost, right? Like, and I'm not talking about just a person, I'm not talking about, like, anything, like, I've been pretty lucky and pretty blessed, and, you know, Reese and Luke, losing them is the first time I truly lost, and, the anger, the madness, the devastation, um, all of it, man. It's like I was devastated. I was in tears. I was crying that whole week. From Friday and trying to hide that shit from you don't want to scare your wife. You don't want to do this. You got to put on a brave face for your family. Yeah, everything's gonna be good. I know. I've done my research. I feel comfortable. We're confident. We're going to the best place in the world.
Yeah.
So like then you find out you lost them and like it just like I, the only like it doesn't just hurt. It creates it's like a nuclear bomb. Like it just goes off and it destroys everything in your path and like that's just the only way you can like describe it. So I yeah, I mean I guess like how like just that rush of like true loss and true just fucked upness. Um and that like overwhelming sense of like all of it, like I guess to your point, like it takes you to a place where like you've never been before. And it's crazy. So how about you? Anything that you can
Yeah, nah, I feel the same way you do, and it's just like it's just life changing. Because I mean, when from the moment that all hits you, uh, I mean, you're not necessarily thinking that thought now, but you know down in your gut, like my life's changed forever. Um, there's a lot to process, and then as time goes by, you get downtime in the delivery room, waiting, to birth, and thoughts start popping in your head, and you're finding one thing after another in your head that's, oh, this is going to be tough. This is going to be like, and it all just kind of starts to pile on you. And you're still just trying to process things yourself, and every little thought you have is just throwing more on the pile. I don't know if there was necessarily anything I was surprised about the way I acted, but or reacted. Uh, but I guess I never had an experience like that before, where I've felt so much at once, like that. That was the biggest thing. So much at once, was just, um, an overly incredibly painful feeling. Yeah.
you you just said something that like I feel to my core is that it changes you and you're different. Um tell me tell me how. Like
Um, Something, you and I've talked about quite a few times. Not that I think we were maybe like ungrateful or unappreciative of things before, but um, little things that would normally bother you on a normal day, they don't make a difference anymore. Getting stressed, getting fired up over like some little inconvenience, this is this or that. It doesn't mean nothing. Once you know how bad things can really be, and then you start seeing these little bumps in your day for what they are, it's nothing. And how about you?
I genuinely believe it, man. I still feel like I am a shell of like myself. Um, I used to walk or like I feel it like in how I walk. Like I used to walk confident with my head up high and now I'm much more reserved and I'm much more quiet and I'm much more everything than I was before because I said earlier, like it is a nuclear bomb that just goes off and like fundamentally just shifts everything about you from your hope and your optimism to you're now like doom and gloom. Like, hey, like everything can be good and like that it can go away. And not only can it go away, but it can like devastate you in a way that is just like undescribable to anybody that hasn't gone through this. Like to see you hear those heartbeats and yeah, like I wanted to be a dad so bad, dude. And you start catching those dreams, you start thinking about those things and the future, what it's gonna look like and what it's gonna be and what they're gonna be like. And yeah, that shit gets like ripped from you in the worst way. And then you gotta see what it does to your wife, which is like the worst. And it's not like, let me be so clear, it's not fair that moms have to, you know, go through all of it and not take their babies home. Like that is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Um, to go through that and to not be able like walking in that hospital and knowing that Reese and Luke weren't coming home with us. Um, yeah, it just I think me and you talked about it. Like, you feel like you're not gonna have a good day again and you're pretty much okay with that. You have okay days. And I think you said it like the best I've heard is like, hey, like every day is kind of shitty. Just some days are more shitty and some days are less shitty.
Yeah, it's the truth a bit. Like you said, going in the hospital, we kind of had a slightly different, scenario there. You guys went in knowing you weren't going to leave with them. We kind of got surprised when we got there. You talk about what changed about us too. We Another thing we talked about is the hyper vigilant stress that the
Ugh,
man. Everything you think about, worst case scenario, like, um, shit, I remember when we came home from the hospital, going to bed, I wouldn't sleep. I was, like, up watching Isabella's monitor, making sure she's breathing, like, can't lose anything else. I'm gonna be hyper alert and watch everything I can like a hawk, and, we're almost at a year now, and I still haven't shook that feeling. Like I worry about everything like that, and you're always planning for the worst, and if the worst doesn't happen, you're like sigh of relief, and then you're just worried about the next thing.
100%, dude. 100. Just how do I insulate myself as much as I can and how do I brace for impact? Like
Yeah,
that's just what I feel with everything. It's with, people who call me. You know, we had a buddy and every time he'd call me, he's calling me to check up on me and I'm worried he's calling me to have that same conversation that you and I had to have. And like that shit is fucking I've already cursed now 3 times with the F word, so I gotta slow down. But that is so difficult, like so difficult to like, every time you get a phone call from somebody, it's like what could be the worst? Like what is theoretically what's the worst thing that could happen in my mind goes there. Somebody's gone, somebody's dead, something terrible happened, and how like that's it. And yeah, it's constant all the time. And yeah, I know that's because we along with you, if you're listening, your dad who's lost his like, child in whatever fashion. I mean, it's a traumatic, devastating thing, and that's what it is, right? It rewires your brain, just your brain, like
yeah,
nervous system or your brain or something, and you try your best, and honestly, it's you know Yeah, it just it lives there all the time.
Yeah, that's one I'm still
Um,
trying to work on big time. Obviously life would be much easier not having that constant worry, but I don't think I found the the right way to shake it yet.
yeah,
So we'll get there.
yeah,
We'll get there.
that's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's you talk about it with people and they'll be like, "Don't think about it." I wish it
Oh
was that
yeah. Oh
easy.
yeah.
I wish it was that easy,
Right.
man. I was never like this. I was the most carefree person in the world, and
Yeah.
not carefree. I mean, I everybody thinks about stuff. Everybody, has problems and troubles, but I did my best to try not to let them get me. But like, I think the statistics are like 1 in 4 pregnancies end right in something in some type of tragedy, and like I never would have thought I was the one. Now, like I can't believe I haven't been struck by lightning. Like I am a fundamental different person, and that's okay. It's okay, that you're fundamentally different. It's okay that if we have a listener and a dad out there, like if you're different, man, it's okay. And that's what dad still hears about, right? Just trying to make sure like there's an open avenue for people to say like, hey, there's people like me out there that are going through the same stuff, and yeah, I mean that's it. Let me ask you a question, and I know you and I have talked about this a couple times. What do you wish that people like understood about that experience? Like, is there anything that, you know, you wish you could explain or not wish, but maybe you would like to explain if we have anybody who's listening who maybe he's got a friend or a brother or a son that lost and they just, they haven't experienced the same thing. Is there anything you wish you could share with them?
That's a tough one. An easy low hanging fruit there one is I'm sure you've heard this from some people. The try again sort of thing, and
Ugh.
that try again, isn't it? Um, you know, they're it's my unique son. Trying again isn't nothing's gonna replace him. Nothing's gonna fill that. So that's a big one. Not too many people I feel like go that route, but I don't know about you, but I've definitely heard it handful of times. And it's just a silly take on what was lost and what you think you can replace it. Um, um,
What about maybe parents? Just imagine somebody comes up to you on the street and says, "Hey, like, tell me about like what's it like child loss and life after child loss."
it's just tell them it's something it's lost that you can't make sense of. That's gonna stick with you every day. As a parent, having to bury your children, especially baby children. There's not a day that goes by where it's not first thing I think when I wake up in the morning. How I used to come home from work, past Resurrection Cemetery where he is every day. Um, there's just nothing like it. I mean, I'm sure you can think of tough times you had through life, any sort of struggles either of I had, and I don't think either of us would compare the sum of all those problems to this. There's just nothing like it.
I get so jealous, like sitting at a bar and like, you're like, man, like I know everybody's going through stuff, but like I wish I could just exchange my stuff for their stuff, like and just have my kids here. Like I'll take any problem in the world to just have my kids here.
Anything else can be
Uh,
fixed.
yeah, yeah. We, jokingly, when we talk about anything else can be fixed, and like, you had mentioned this a while ago, and on a private conversation, but I think it was 2 days after we came home from the hospital, and still trying to navigate that. Like, what's home like now? Like you have a house and you have all these dreams and expectations that you expect to hear like little feet on the floor one day and laughter and you got a nursery and now you don't have any of that anymore. But yeah, you come home and you're trying to navigate that new normal, which sucks. And so it's the second day we wake up and dealing with Ruby and you know, uh brands like there's water spraying from the bathroom and like, pipe burst in the bathroom. This is like day two, like Sunday morning. And normally I would have been like, I hate this house. I can't believe it. What are we doing? I would have went nuts. And I just was like, not the worst thing that's gonna happen to us this week. Like that's already happened.
Yeah.
Um, so but yeah, I mean, circling back to something, so I'll follow up with something that I don't like when people I wish that they would understand and what they responded, and I try not to judge people. It is so difficult, and I've heard it like one or two times. God needed them more than you, and
Yeah.
I try and be respectful, and I do my best to be as good as I can,
Yeah.
and I don't say anything to them, but it's like, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. God didn't say I need two identical twins. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
And I know sometimes
I need,
people mean well, but I mean, it's just when you think about how the person on the opposite end is receiving that message, doesn't
yeah,
doesn't instantly really make you feel better.
yeah, yeah. God doesn't need my twins. I need my twins. My wife needs our twins. Our families need our twins. Like that's who needs Reese and Luke.
Yeah.
And it's no disrespect, but that's a tough thing. And then if I could explain this to anybody, I've said it once and twice, and I'll say it 1,000 times. It destroys your soul. It crushes your hope. It puts you in a place that is like so tough to just get up. We didn't even talk about the guilt, right? Like the guilt of like day
Uh,
to day life, man. Like
uh,
good things shouldn't happen to me. Like they don't deserve to happen to me. Like the best two things in the world, in my world, the worst thing happened to them. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't deserve good things. You don't care about anything. Every day you eat a cookie and you're like, or something, right? Candy or a beer. It's like, like what do you like? I don't deserve anything good. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't.
Yeah, the guilt's a huge one. I do think the moms and dads have two different kinds of guilt they have to deal with. I remember the first night, probably a week after we lost Michael, I had hopped on Adel and Rose couples counselor call. Like I said before, I was the only dad there. He was by himself. Chris wasn't too comfortable to get on the call yet, and they had asked everybody about guilt, and it was all directed at the moms. And you know, I thought I'd be spectating, and she asked me, how do you feel about guilt? So my take on that was, I think I said it last episode. As a father, as husband, you're protecting your family, and when there's nothing you could have done to protect your child, that was one of the most guilt-stricken feelings I ever had. And the guilt's not stopped. The guilt's. I remember talking to my mom, and this was maybe even a couple months after. She was telling me she was getting some chores done around the house. She was maybe like humming to herself, smiled, and she was like, "Why am I doing this?" And you feel guilty about even having a happy moment, like you said. The guilt is something I don't know how, again, we're, like you said, we're not expert. I don't know how long that persists. For me, it still persists at this point close to a year. Um, you go to the cemetery and you just think you would. Of course, you tell them, I tell them every time I would have done anything, um, but you couldn't, and that eats at you uh, the way nothing else can. Um, I don't know if you got any feelings of guilt.
Boy, every day, brother. When we first found out about twin to twin transfusion, I would, I go out back and, every night I would pray and, just I would do. I'm a big countdown person. I have a countdown for almost everything in my life, and so the countdown for the boys to get here was something that was big and important. And so, every day I would another day down, another day down, 110, 109, 108, and I remember just looking up at the stars and just being like, "I'll do anything, just get them here." Um, yeah, I'm okay. Whatever we got to do, if there's a way to trade, if there's a way to do anything, just knowing that they could be here with Bran, I would be okay with that. And again, not you would do anything. Like I would have given anything in the world to make sure Reese and Luke could be here. And I hate that they're not, man. I hate that they're not. Um, but yeah, it's a tough thing. I think back to that conversation and then I think back to the like trying to figure out, like again, like what happened, right? Because for us, like it wasn't confirmed it was the twin to twin, but they had, we went and did the autopsy and, leading up to the getting the autopsy results, which, Reese was a pound, Luke was a pound 5 ounces, and it took weeks, a couple weeks to get them, and you're just beating yourself up, you're racking your brain, you're trying to think, is it like what could I have done? Like how was it my fault?
Yeah,
And you'd almost rather it be your fault rather than just accept that something really, really terrible and really, really devastating happened to you for no apparent reason
yeah,
whatsoever. And
yeah,
that's a tough thing, man.
yeah. 'Cause at that point, you can't wrap your head around it. Um,
Yeah, and you got to hear your wife. Like she struggles with. You know,
yeah,
she wants to place blame on herself, and after everything she's done and everything she's given, like it breaks your heart to see the person that you love the most in the world, like just be that upset and that devastated and that consumed with like guilt that like yeah, I wish I could have done anything to take that guilt from her. Like, it's
yeah,
when you lose your kid, it's just a constant struggle of sadness and grief and despair and everything. Like it's everything you could think of times a billion.
yeah.
Um, and that's that's tough. So, yeah, I mean, uh, one thing I do know, and I think in some of um, the people I wish they that they understood is that again, like we're different. We're always going to be different. That's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. I'm gonna have good days and I'm gonna have shittier days and less shitty days. Just because I have a couple less shitty days doesn't mean I can't go back to shitty days. And, it doesn't mean that I can't go back to like, I'm okay. Like, we're okay. We're doing everything we can do. Um, and that's why, I mean, this podcast, man, it's been a breath of fresh air because it's been, past month where some shitty days and that's okay. It's a really difficult thing what happened to us. So again, I'm just so thankful for this and this community that hopefully we're building, and this following of hopefully dads that just want to know, hey, there's two other dudes just like me who had the same really crappy thing happen, and what can we do to be, what can we do? And talking about them and honoring them is the best thing that we can do. So
I'm thankful for you, thankful for your idea to do this, thankful for you for setting this all up, thankful for, all you've always done for my family. So, uh,
brother, we are family, man.
yeah.
So I love you, man, and I'm so appreciative of you. Um, Let me ask you a question, going back and thinking about, you just get the news and or not just get the news, maybe everything happens and you take a day or two to yourself and try and process. How did, how did you tell people, whether your family, if you want to start with maybe how'd you tell your family to some friends, and what was that like?
Yeah. So, we had called both of our parents in the morning, on the way to the hospital when Chris was having contractions. We told him business as usual. Everything seems good. The baby was kicking last night. We'll keep you updated. We dropped Isabel off. Um, and then once we got to the hospital, we were calling him back with the news we had that we had lost him. Um, and we each called our parents, we started calling our siblings, and every phone call, it's like telling it over for the first time, reliving every moment for the first time. Each time you hear somebody's voice and you have to tell them, like, you start breaking down. You're crying before they even answer the phone. Um, and then seeing people too. The first time you see anybody, even when they know, but it's the first time they see it, and you just look at each other. Everybody's breaking down and just um, you know, like the rest of the firsts that are involved in this whole process. Every first is excruciating, and definitely calling people for the first time is just crushing.
Is there any calls that you remember, like, or they like, you know, anyone that like sticks out? Um, 'Cause, like for me, like I like distinctly, you were the first. You obviously you were the first, and that was tough. And then I called our friend Karen, and I remember calling Karen and her like streaking, like panic in her voice, like, "Are you serious? Oh my god, no!" And just like that, her saying that, man, it just like burned into my brain, and because it was months after you guys, and now it's again, and it's like I remember just again, like, are you serious? Like, oh my god, no, and just that, like that is burned into my brain.
Yeah. I remember just having to I had to call my brother. He was away on a bachelor party. And I had to think for a second. I don't want to tell him this while he's, off having a good time with his friends, celebrating something meant to be celebrated. Uh, but also, knowing him, um, he's my best friend too. Uh, I knew he'd be mad if I didn't call him. And I remember calling him, and like you said, someone with Karen, hearing the tone of his voice, something I'll never forget. Hearing him, start to get upset as we're talking. Um, like I said, don't want to. I didn't want to put anything on his weekend, and uh, yeah, you could just hear it when the first time you're telling somebody else, and they start crying. I mean, you just lose it immediately too. Uh, yeah.
and you said it, like, you gotta say it over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and it just it hurts, like, it's still so fresh, and it just hurts even more every time you cycle through it, and, you start with your family. I'm sure your mom and your dad and Chris's family, Brandon's family, like, family, like, and then, you get to your friends, and it's like, we got a great group of friends.
Oh, yeah.
We've been friends for, as Mike said on the first, we've been friends for over 25 years. Um, Most of our friends have been like our friends for 25 years, over then. And so it's like, you call these people who like are so excited, and they already love your child or your children so much, and you got to deliver this news that is just the most difficult news in the world to deliver, and it doesn't get easier. You think maybe you'll become numb to it, but you're still just it's still so fresh and so raw that it just like takes a little bit out of you every single time. And like, I still don't know if like that has been like refilled, right? I don't even know if that makes sense, but like just that sharing of that devastating news, because it's all these people who like they share in the grief with you, and
Yeah.
you know
It's
to a different extent.
it's not one
But
of those things in the beginning which after you make the first couple phone calls, then the next couple are easy. Um, it's like an erratic up and down.
yeah,
There's not some sort of, "Okay, I've got it now. I can call everybody
yeah,
else and be okay." It's just it's not like that. It's very volatile how you're feeling. Think we had talked about before too, sometimes, when your wife's feeling good and you don't wanna be the one to, you know, as a father, as a man, you don't wanna be the one to then sink the ship. So you try and keep it together for a lot of those calls that you're making, when everybody is in one of those when the seesaw's balanced a little bit, 'cause things definitely go back and forth. You have moments of being okay, and then the moments of not being okay come like that just shortly after. And there's no graph that I feel like could graph the progress of how you're supposed to recover from this. It's not a roller coaster. It's up, down, back, forth, left, right. It moves in a crazy manner. And I think that's, part of the reason it's so tough to navigate.
thinking about the day that everything changed. I don't know if you feel the same way, but like time, man, like time feels so different now.
Yeah.
I don't know about with you. Like I feel like everything, like I feel like, yeah, I, I I feel like it was just yesterday I was holding them, and at the same time I feel like it was like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a difficult thing to like grasp. Like, how do you move? I hate the phrase like moving on, because it feels like you're forgetting them, and you never want to forget them. You never can forget them. Let me be very clear about that. But like, so I try and be conscious and say like moving forward, right? Forward with. But like, yeah, time is just like that's the one that's like,
Yeah.
you know, our world stopped, and the rest of the world just kept going. And I feel like I've never been able to get back to where it was before the boys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, I mean, we'll probably talk about this maybe in a more isolated episode for it, but like going back to work and you're going from going at the pace of your mindset at home to jumping back to the pace of the mindset you need to have at work. And that is a crazy transition.
Expectations,
Yeah.
and yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, the time thing is like the craziest thing. Like, it does. It everything feels like it was just yesterday. Like, I remember, leaving them in the hospital and that just being the worst feeling in the world, and then it feels like it was 100 years ago at the same exact moment. Like, I can't even begin to describe it.
Strange how that all
Um,
works. It
yeah.
really is. Um,
Um, is there anything, you know, anything else that maybe you wanna talk about on the day that everything changed? Whether it's the funeral, whether it's anything specifically that maybe might stick out to you or might, like, you feel like is a core memory. Because I have something that you told me about the funeral, and I thank God that you told me about it before I
uh,
found out about it.
yeah. Uh, um, when it comes to doing the planning, we were at Resurrection and the funeral home. I don't know, 2 days after we got home from the hospital. You're talking to people about making decisions and stuff like that. You're half there. You're lucky if you're half there. Cognitively, making a bunch of decisions, planning things out, and I think what you're talking about is I remember going in the cemetery day of the funeral. We're waiting for everyone to pull in and get in line, and we're about to pull over to his gravesite. Then they got out and told me, when we get there, you're gonna have to carry uh you're gonna have to carry his casket over. And I don't know what I was thinking was gonna happen. I don't know if I should, even still now, should I have expected that or not? But that hit me like a ton of bricks. And having to carry him over there, to bury him and take him, I mean, just every step, you just want to stop walking and just stand there and just hold him forever. You don't want to
Yeah.
keep walking and take him, to that. You just want to stop and stand there and hold him. And I'll never forget that walk from the street where we all parked, to carrying him over to where we buried him. Um,
Yeah. I remember the day of the funeral, like, we go to Tomlinson's and, Brandon and I got there half hour before. We only did family, so we got there a half hour before, and I remember, like, turning the corner and just seeing, like, the tiniest little casket,
yeah,
like, this tiny blue casket. It's 12 by 18 inches, and, that's my whole world, right? Like, and, yeah, I thank God you gave me the heads up, um, because it was carrying them, like, from the funeral home, to carrying them from the funeral home to the hearse, and then from the hearse to the grave. To your point, man, I stopped and Brandy and I kissed it, as many times as we could. Um, and taking them from the hearse to the grave, was like, the last moment I got to hold them, and I just wanted them to know, like, everything's gonna be okay, and, tried to put them down as nice as I could. And, if they were alive, I never would've been able to put them down that nice because they would've been, you know, moving around and squirming and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, just doing that and, yeah, it's so messed up, man. It's so messed up. Uh, yeah, it is such a difficult thing. And again, I can't say, if you haven't picked up on it by now, um, you know, Mike has been like my rock through this whole thing. Um,
Was.
Giving me the advice and giving me the stuff needed, and whatever role I could have played, I appreciate being there for you. But like, man, that heads up about the casket was so helpful because I would have, to your point, like been shocked. Like, what do you expect? But
Yeah, that was one of the things I was like, I don't know if I should tell you or not, but I wish I knew, sort of
yeah,
deal. So, but
yeah, honestly, carrying them to from there to the grave is like the greatest honor of my life. And yeah, I just love my boys. I know you love your son.
yeah,
Um,
I'm proud of you.
we yeah, we're they're proud Mike, they're proud of us,
Yeah.
man. I know they're up in heaven. I told them to scooter around all day.
Oh yeah.
So I was hoping they were ripping on some razor scooters up in heaven this
That
morning.
explains the thunder this afternoon.
That's it.
Oh,
That's it. So listen, we're gonna wrap up this episode, but one thing we didn't do in episode one because we wanted to talk about Father's Day, and that was so much more important. Is kind of end on whatever good note we can, or any type of note, quite frankly, because um, you know we're still here, and we still have life going on. So, Mike, do you have anything that you want to share? Maybe something good, something bad, something funny, something that made you
uh,
laugh, something that made you think about your boys or not, or your son. Sorry, not your
yeah.
boys.
Uh, we had a deer in the backyard, one in the front yard, across the street tonight. What Chris always takes as her sign that baby Michael's there, and it was broad daylight too. This deer was out like 5:45, so it kind of gives everybody a little moment of hope when we see the deer. So that was nice to see twice today. How about you?
So I have a something that I love. Every night at 7 o'clock, Brandy and I read a book to the boys. It started like literally. She started buying books, and pretty. She wanted to have something for the nursery, so we should always have books to read the boys. And Saturday night, our first night home, I was like, "Do you want to read a book?" And we're like, "Yeah." And so even now, still to this day, we're still reading books every night at 7 o'clock. But we've gotten tired because we don't have a ton of books. We have a handful. So I have started like Chat GPTing like custom stories.
Uh,
So, dude, I'm telling you, it's for you. If there's any other lost dad, or if there's a lost mom out there, like you can literally say like create a story about your child, and make it a little funny and make it a little sad. And I'm telling you, man, like they're beautiful, and it's so tough to like read their names like through it, and then you imagine them, doing it. But yeah, so Chat GPT custom stories, man.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, regular books are great. And whatever you want to do to honor your kids and stuff. But if you're ever looking for something, a quick Chat GPT on the story has been like something that we like genuinely love. And now I have like a whole notes folder of all these. I think I got like 6 stories that like we try and do it like on special days. So yeah, that's something that we really love and makes me smile, makes me think of the boys. So
But
with that, I think it's time probably to end with episode 2. So we want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. More importantly, please, if you have a lost dad in your life, a brother, a son, a cousin, a neighbor, a grandchild, anybody you might have, please share this with them. And don't forget, episode 3 will be coming out. We're going to record it next Tuesday and drop it next Wednesday. So I don't know the date of that. I want to say it's July 1st. I could be wrong.
I
But we're trying to,
all I know is the fourth is on a Saturday.
yeah, we're not smart people. So we're trying our best. But episode 3 is going to be being a dad when your child isn't here. So with that being said, Mike, you had a great end to the pod last time. I think we need to do it again.
We did too. Um, so everything we're doing, um, even a little bits for us, but all of it is for the boys.
For the boys. Thanks for
Mhm.
watching. Please subscribe.